welcome to Janette's TV podcast. I'm your host, Janette Burke, and today I am joined by Kimberly Kasparian, who is a growth success coach. But growth and success come in different ways, and Kimberly is very passionate about helping individuals achieve personal and professional success, your desires, and your dreams. So we're going to hear a little bit more about how that's attainable when you have the right mindset. Welcome to Janette's TV podcast, Kimberly Kasparian. How are you?
Great, Janette. How are you?
Good, thank you. Now, Kimberly, you call yourself the success genie, right?
Yeah.
That's not by accident.
No.
And certainly to become a success in anything, you got to have the right mindset.
Yes.
So let's start with actually defining what is mindset and how does one develop the skills to have the right mindset. So take it away, Kimberly.
What a great question, Janette. All right. So mindset, in my definition, is how you experience the world around you, within you. And I call our mind or our brain an expression machine. It's a gift that we're given as we come into this life. So to put it in reference, if any of us have aging parents or elder family who suffer from dementia, or like I had a brain injury back in 2018 due to a car accident, it's a very precious gift. When our mind does not work right, our brain does not work right, we don't function the same way as when it is. But in addition to our brain, we have this thing called our mind. And it's the part of us that explains or narrates the events that are happening around us and how we think about ourselves. Is that a good explanation to someone who might be listening that's not new, maybe doesn't understand mindset?
Yes, it's a good explanation. But now the part two is how do we develop the skills? Now, I'm going to put a little more reference in here for you before you answer that question. Okay. Because sometimes it's easier said than done, especially, when we're in situations and as you told me to do, dump it out. You told me, do a mind dump, Janette, just dump it all out, get it on paper. And yes, I think that that's the beginning, but I think there's a lot more to it than that. And that's what I want you to expand upon, the skills, the steps of how we can come to clear our minds and have more clarity on what we need to do to get the success in our life, whether it's personal or whether it's professional.
All right.
And I think that you could really illustrate it by sharing with us a situation in your own life, a story. You mentioned you had a brain injury, and how you personally were able to shift or transform your mindset for a more positive outcome. So do you understand exactly what I'm asking you? What were the steps and the skills? Go ahead, Kimberly.
So let's set it up for everybody. If you ever, well, we all were children once upon a time. So if you can remember back when you were a child, or you have children in your everyday life around the age of 3 to 6, basically what I teach you to do is be like them. Because at that age, 3 to 6 years old, they don't have what we have. 2 developed frontal lobes in our called the cerebral cortex. They are literally living in pure possibility and imagination. Everything that happens to them, good or bad, is great. It's an experience. They explore, they're curious, and nothing gets in their way. Ask a 3-year-old, when you say no, do they believe you? Nope. They're like, I have a goal, I'm going to ask, and I'm going to get it. And they do not, and at any given minute, they're a Superman, they're Wonder Woman, they're a fire person, and they embody whatever it is they imagine, and it feels very real to them. You cannot tell them, they're in the back seat of the car, reading about, they're experiencing whatever they're doing, and it's wonderful. It's all an adventure. until about the age of 7 to about 25. This is what why we call the genie gets locked. That imaginative part of you that can see possibilities for endless times starts to close in. There's reasons for it, but then what happens is in the natural progression of our brain, our mind starts adding meaning to everything. You'll see this in children when they start language. Once they realize that there is a language, a verbal language, they'll go, what's that? What's that? What's that? The kids will start asking, well, why? Well, why? Our brain is literally forming the part of our brain that we love. It's a gift that can reason, that can criticize, that can judge, that can analyze, that could add definition to our experience. It's a blessing and it's an issue because over time, we start to think what we think is true. What we think about our experiences are more real than who we really are. So example, most people who are new to mindset and even don't know the difference between their thought about something, a thought about a circumstance, and the actual circumstance. When something is happening in real time and we don't have perspective, we will define ourselves by the situation. For example, to what you were talking to, I was injured in a car accident in 2018. Young gentleman just thought it was a really great idea to cross 4 lanes of traffic with what he thought was a yellow light, which actually was a red light. I was his stopping point. It was a car accident. And I was injured. That's the circumstance. What I thought about that accident, what I felt about what I thought about that accident is a much longer story. What I thought about that accident created some anxiety and concern. And how I felt about that accident was a long journey getting to here. So when we say to ourselves, I can or can't because of this circumstance, we have a mindset gap. We have a mindset issue. I got business-wise, I got a great client. I lost a great client. A client came or went. Fact. It's the end of my business. It's the beginning of my business. Whatever we think about it is a thought, which will always be there. But how we relate to that thought will tell us how we're experiencing the situation. This is more of a clinical way, but just to understand, there's the brain has rules, the mind has rules. And if we just let our mind do what we want it to do, it will always default to the negative. Anything you put in front of it, a beautiful candle, a delicious dinner, $1 million, left to its own, it'll always create a belief or thought that's defaulted to the negative.
Okay. So hold it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold it right there because I want to delve into something.
Go ahead.
What happens when we let our minds go to the negative? And what are some of the ways we can course correct that?
Okay. Well, I call it my words, free range chicken. If you let your mind just go wherever it wants to go, just understand if it's a choice between it's great or it's horrible, it'll always pick the horrible because it's designed to protect you, limit you, keep you safe. Technical terms, it's the amygdala of the brain. Each part of your brain has a function. The base part of your brain called the amygdala is designed literally, it was with us back in the days, supposedly we were all cave people, to keep you safe and free from the saber-toothed tiger. It's that fight or flight response that we all get. If there's danger, if something startles us, it's ingrained in our DNA. So that's always running, like think of Windows. It's always running the show in the background. But there's another part of our brain that we can train. We can train our brains. So we think of it like a software program or a computer. What AI would be a great way to a relationship. It's whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. It's not good or bad. It's just what information are you giving me? So the part of our brain that we can train needs someone to tell it how it should think. We literally train our brains to think a certain way. So the day that you called me when you had a lot going on in your mind, it can be overwhelming when your mind is racing, when something happens and you get triggered, or you have a legitimate emotional response to something. Your lower brain, your amygdala brain wants to get in the mix to protect you, wants to push all the other parts of your brain away and says, listen, I got this. I got to take care of the situation. When you learn how to train the other parts of your brain, you're able to tell that flight or fight response, I got this. Here's how we're going to handle the situation. These are the parameters in which I want you to focus on and do what only you can do. But
Okay, so
here's
tell
where
us,
we're going to
give us
focus.
some tips or something you did to train your brain not to go down the rabbit.
Okay. So the first thing I do is I decide what I decide. I do this I take time in my life every quarter to like design my life as I want it to be. So like pretend you're talking to a genie, the way I got the name Success Genie. People will try to tell me their problems. I'm like, okay, great. Tell me what you want, but don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just talk to me. So the first tip is talk to yourself like you would a genie. If you all know the story of the genie, whatever you say, you're going to get. But the genie takes what you say literally. So if you get a little fuzzy or highbrow, there's a lot of room in the middle, chef's choice. So if I appeared to you as a genie and said, you have 3 wishes, you'd be very deliberate on what you say. It would be stated in the positive. It would be result oriented, and it would have a feeling attached to it. So the questions you ask your brain, these are like prompts. Everyone now, the day of AI, people understand AI. The prompts are, I want to feel excited. I want to trust what I'm seeing or feeling. And I want the end result to be X, Y, and Z. Very tangible, very specific. And like before you even let it come out of your mouth, you are so excited about it. You feel like you're experiencing it right now. That's
Okay,
what you ask for.
so we're going to be nearing the end of the interview, but I have 2 questions before we close out. And one question is, what are sort of the common mindset challenges most people face?
The common mindset challenges that they face is that whatever they want can't happen because of a circumstance outside of themselves. They believe, in other words, their beliefs cause the mindset issue. They usually think a circumstances is causing their reality, when the truth is their beliefs are creating the reality. Their beliefs are creating the reality. So there's 7 skills that anyone can learn to master, to focus their brain in the direction they want it to go. So think of it like a camera. You can focus your brain in any direction. Think of it like a GPS. You want to go to California. You want to avoid the tolls. You want to take private roads, whatever you want. You want to get to the ice cream store. You want to go wherever you want to go. You put in your coordinates and the GPS figures it out for you. You can do the same thing with your brain with 7, what I call 7 internal success skills.
Okay, so can you give us maybe even one of them, like that we would use in a daily practice to revert our negative thinking to more positive thinking and be more fruitful in getting what it is that we want, whether that's a business that yields 7 figures or a man that has the same or
Which we've
bigger
done
or
all of that, Janette. The nice
or
thing
the
about
dream
these
job
seven
or the
skills,
dream relationship.
think of these as a GPS system that if you tell it, like I desire a 7-figure business without sacrificing my personal life or making expensive mistakes. I desire to have the relationship with a man, woman of my dreams, and this is what it looks like to me. Then you use these 7 skills to train your brain to look for evidence that this is happening right now. So there's
Okay, so
7
give me
skills.
one skill of the 7.
Yeah. Focus. Focus.
Okay.
What you focus on, where focus goes, energy flows. This is a
Okay.
soundbite that anybody can remember. What you believe, you receive.
And you also
Your
achieve.
right. Your attitude determines your altitude. How hot, how much you can have is dependent upon your attitude. Okay.
Okay, so as we're about to round out here, I want to give 2 things. We call this the shameless promotion segment or bit. So you have a giveaway gift today as
Yes.
a growth expert and a mindset expert that would help anyone listening have more positive mindset or at least shift and transform. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your gift? And then I want to hear something else from you. Go ahead,
Okay.
tell us about that.
It's an ebook. It's an ebook / exercise book. It's called Success is Your Birthright. I explain to you in much easier detail about what these 7 skills can do for you. And I invite you to experience them reading the ebook and actually doing the exercises so you can experience immediate results and experience the power of what I call your 7 internal success skills. It explains the 7 skills in very easy ways to remember, why you should care, how you can use them right now. And it'll, for each skill, it gives you like a very simple 2-minute exercise to wield the power of them. And you will have an immediate shift. You'll start to see the genius of these 7 skills and why I call them a GPS system.
Okay, so
And
where can we go to get the ebook? We're going to have a link available for download. You're going to supply that to me and they'll just can go and log in and get it or just download it. Do you have a link handy that you?
The best way, besides the link that you're going to provide, if you go to the website, my website, successgenie.com,
Okay.
I will have it available for you, very easy to find, and you can download that book. So you have your own copy.
So, okay, so that's great. So, and you told me your website, so we're going to repeat that because we're going to include that as well. And everything we're talking about is going to be linked in the show notes. So if you missed it, it'll be there. So it's www.successgenie, as in genie, like the magic genie, not I dream of genie. Successgenie.com, Kimberly Kasparian. And Kimberly, tell us, just as we are closing out, how did you become a success genie? Or maybe even why you became one?
My moniker was given to me by clients because when I tell them what to do and results just show up, they're like, you're like a genie. But I found that I had this ability after a series of events in my 20s that had me believing that my life as I desired it to be was not possible. And that belief was so horrible, that thought was so overwhelming and destructive that I almost chose not to be here. And that opened up the door to me learning about the power of mindset, the transformative effect of beliefs, and most of all, that beliefs could be changed. I did not know that once upon a time. I thought circumstances, it's done, you're stuck with it. When I learned the transformative power of beliefs, a whole new world opened up for me. And within a 4-month period of time, I achieved goals that were so elusive. I thought the second coming of Christ would have to happen before I even got even close to those 4 things. I got so excited and so in awe because if it could happen for me, it could happen for anybody. I
And that's
started
the
this
point.
journey to teach others.
Okay. That's the point. I want my audience to really grasp that you may be in a place right now where you think you cannot have what you want, or you think that this is the end of the world and you're done and that's it, game over. But you can have it. You can change. Doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter what religion you practice, what your background is. You can incorporate mindset shifts and you can go after what you want and get it. And that, I think, is the perfect note to end on in what we're discussing with Kimberly today. So I want to thank Kimberly for being with us today. And I want to thank you, my dear audience, for being with us as well. Please remember to like, comment, and share all our posts with your family and friends. You will find us everywhere. On the TV side, we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Vimeo, YouTube, Rumble, every social media platform, we're there. On the audio side, which is the radio side or the podcast side, we are on Apple, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, BuzzFeed, and that list goes on. For a complete list of where to watch and listen to us, please check the link in the show notes below. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel. That link is also below. And until next time, continue to be fabulous. This is Janette Burke, your host, signing off.